Jose, great to see you again. Thank you for joining on for the call today. Thought it'd be great to talk a little bit about yourself, about Bankuish and Filance AI, and understand a little bit around the business, what problems you're trying to solve, and just talk to the world about what we're doing. So, I guess I'll hand over to you if you wanted to just do a quick intro about yourself.
Of course. Thank you so much, Ash, for having me here. So my name is José Fernández. I'm the CEO and founder of Bankuish and Filance AI. So what is Bankuish? What is Filance AI? Bankuish is an app that allows and empowers gig workers, freelancers, creators to be able to connect their gig platform accounts and have a complete performance dashboard where you can see how many, if you're working for ride sharing or courier services, you can see how many dollars per hour, dollars per kilometer you're making in one app versus another. You can see how much money you made in this month versus last month, and then you can also see if you're a creator, how your content is monetizing across different platforms, and just all kinds of information that allows you to become a power user of your Git platforms as quickly as possible. Now, Filance AI is the US version of Bankuish. So Bankuish is present in Mexico and Brazil, in Chile, and Colombia, throughout Latin America. Filance AI is the US version of our app. And it has a nice twist. It's empowered by ChatGPT, and what it does is it gives you a very personal version of what Bankuish normally would do, because what we do is we feed this AI your data along with the data of all of our user base, and it comes and says, "Hey Ash, we can see that you're making X amounts of dollars as an Uber Lyft driver in Miami, operating evenings and from Monday to Saturday. We see that you could have a 40% increase in income if you were to do rush hour on Mondays, or maybe you have to focus on one app, or maybe to get platinum status, and it gives you huge insight on that. It also tells you, oh, I see that you're spending this much on gas and maintenance fees, or maybe you have a rental. It gives you a lot of input on how much money you should be making to be able to break even, and just all kinds of insights so that you can become a power user of your gig platforms.
Amazing. So obviously a huge amount of value there for gig workers who can utilize it. I guess if you were to frame it as the problems that they might have at the moment, what kind of problem is it specifically trying to solve as a business? What are you trying to help them achieve?
Thank you. Yeah. So we have two value propositions for gig workers. First, we want to help them make more income, right? Be more efficient with their time. So that's where all these metrics come in. And we don't charge anything for the Bankuish or Filance AI apps. Now, what the second value proposition is where we offer them financial products, the best possible financial products for them, because we use aggregate versions of the data that we extracted to give them their own dashboards. And we use this data to be able to find the best financial products out there. So we convince the largest banks, the main insurance providers in the world, largest fintechs. And with this data, we're able to convince these institutions that these gig workers, even though they're thin file or no file on the traditional credit bureaus, that they have a very clear pattern of income, a very clear cadence of hours work, a very sturdy profile, and that they are very dependable and they're very trustworthy, and their creditworthiness should be, in the underwriting engine of these institutions should be improved because their ability of repayment is very high. So thanks to this, we're able to offer pre-approved bank offers within the Bankuish and Filance AI apps to these gig workers. Now, we do charge these banking institutions origination fees. We do charge these financial institutions data access fees, and that is how we monetize, and we keep all of our services always free for our gig workers, our freelancers, our creators.
Incredible. Okay, so be able to have a whole value ecosystem is to be able to help them to do what they do, but take some of the complicated process away and increase their income stream as well. So no, amazing. Sounds like a fantastic business to be able to solve these problems. So I guess with you kind of personally and the business, how you built it, why do you believe that Bankuish and Filance AI, particularly for the US market, is kind of positioned to be able to solve that problem effectively?
Yeah, so I guess I guess those are two questions, right? On the one hand, why do we why are we capable of solving this, and why I particularly feel like I could make a difference in this space. So me particularly, I had a very I'm originally from Madrid, Spain. But I've been living in the States for over 13 years. And when I first came to the US, I had no credit history. And it was tough, right? As an expat coming into the US, trying to lease an apartment in New York, trying to get a credit card, trying to, no bank, no leasing agency, no one wanted to deal with me because when they run my credit check, it came out no file, and that was just too much risk for these institutions. And I realized there was an issue, right, where you're trapped in this vicious cycle where you're being denied financial products because you don't have a credit history, but you can't build a credit history if no one will give you a credit card or loan to repay, right? And when I started to dig in, I realized that it's not just expats. There are 68 million Americans that are thin file and no file that are just out of the system, locked out of the system, as I said, in that vicious cycle, simply because they don't have credit history to start with, and that just locks them out. And within that, the community of gig workers struck me as very notorious for two reasons. One is because a high percentage of gig workers are thin file, no file, but also because gig workers have a ton of data, a ton of financial data in their gig platform accounts. So it doesn't matter if you're a freelancer working on Upwork, Fiverr, Workana, freelancer.com, or you're a gig worker working for DoorDash or Lyft, or you're a creator making your income through TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. You have a lot of information on your income and your work habits and your performance and your assets. If you own your vehicle, the model make up your vehicle, all this information stored in these accounts, and we could tap into that resource. Hopefully we could build a bridge that could make good financial institutions like the ones I used to work for to feel comfortable giving loans to these gig workers. Because my background before becoming a founder was all in the risk departments of several banks.
Yeah. Okay. No, makes complete sense, and I completely feel that pain as well of moving over as an expat. I moved over from the UK to New York as well, and yeah, the struggles with trying to get an apartment without a credit score, without a credit history, get a credit card, everything that came with it was just an absolute minefield of trying to work out how to do that. It was incredibly difficult, and I had no idea that there were 68 million Americans who were in a difficult situation as well, under comparable circumstances, even though they weren't necessarily expats. So there's obviously a huge market potential for it. So makes complete sense as to where you guys can help make an impact there. So I guess you just talked a little bit about it around the kind of story behind the creation of the business. Also be interesting to hear kind of how that journey for you as a founder has gone along the way. Any maybe key successes or milestones that you've had with the business to date.
Right. So we were born in March 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, and in these 4 years, we've managed to expand from Mexico to Chile to Colombia to Brazil, back into the United States. We've managed to originate financial products worth more than $200 million. We have an active user base of over 500,000 users. We've had a few accolades. Intuit gave us their AI for Prosperity Award. Santander Bank gave us their Financial Inclusion Award. South Summit last year gave us their Startup of the Year, their Most Innovative Startup of the Year award. And I guess more importantly, we've managed to close the majority of the largest banks and insurance providers in Latin America, and some of the largest banks in the world. And we're starting to close some of these deals in the US as well.
Incredible. So obviously some very clear achievements, lots of clear awards for the innovation of the impact you guys are having in the market, which is great. And obviously materially seeing that coming to life must be amazing to see that journey. Obviously throughout that journey, we know that it's not always going to be smooth sailing. So it'd be also interesting to hear about anything that maybe you've kind of struggled with throughout that journey, or any learns that you've had with Bankuish and Filance AI.
Yeah. So struggles. Yeah, there's been a few. I guess here's the thing. We have a very clear mission. It's the only one non-negotiable thing about Bankuish, and it is that we are here, we exist to bring dignity to the financial lives of gig workers, freelancers, creators, to the future of work, and therefore to bring dignity to the financial lives of these gig workers, we cannot, offer financial products that are predatory, which is what they're facing right now when they're not being served by formal banking institutions. We need to help them, right, in some way, and therefore we have to find a balance where we get to, serve the gig workers, but in a way that is serving as well the banks and the gig platforms. And the balance is not always easy. So on the one hand, banks, I guess the most obvious one is banks have a very slow sales cycle when it comes to consuming our data, because again, we refuse to have just a nice bank put a nice logo in our app and then you click on it and then you're denied, as you are always again and again. No, they have to consume our data. They have to take a look at your actual income information, asset information, your identity validation, and give you a fair chance. And that's convincing these risk departments in these large financial institutions that are obviously very risk averse. That's where I built my professional career. I understand them very, very dearly because they're dealing with the savings of the clients of the bank. When they're giving a loan, they have to do it with a sense of risk aversion. But getting them to consume our data is very often a sales cycle that is a feedback loop that is measured in months instead of weeks. And then on the other hand, the gig platforms themselves, right? So we want to help the gig platforms in our cap table. We have the founders and executives of all the largest gig platforms, and this was made by design because we want to make sure that this solution helped the gig platforms as well. And gig platforms are always managing. They're a marketplace themselves. They have the demand of their earners and the supply. So the supply of earners and the demand of the consumers, of the users, and managing that balance is hard for them. So sometimes we're very important to them and other times not so much. So managing those conflicting interests, that balance of conflicting interest is always hard. But it is worth it because in the end, you have the gig worker who is always going to be better off with this solution than they were before.
Of course, yeah, it makes sense. And you're talking of that gig worker, the freelancers, the people who will ultimately be able to kind of benefit from what you guys are doing. How would you define as your kind of core target market? Is there specific segments of those people who it may be more relevant to than others? Why should those people care about what you guys are doing, and how could it materially impact them as an individual? Do you think in the most obvious way?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, where we are most useful is when a gig worker, a freelancer, a creator, when they make the majority of their income from these platforms, right? As long as you can connect your source of truth, your source of income to Bankuish, and to a point where we can get a good sense of your financial health, the more we can recommend you, the more tools we can give you to improve that income and be more efficient, the more we can convince financial institutions to give you better terms and better products. So it doesn't matter. Like we sometimes see that someone connects their Uber and Lyft account, but then they'll also connect their TikTok account because they're an influencer as an Uber driver. You can connect both, and we can see the information, and we can homogenize that information and offer it up so that banks can see your full value and say, okay, this person deserves a better rating, a better, larger principal amount, maybe a more premium product than what we would normally offer. Or we will deal with this person instead of just we won't touch that person because we don't have enough information. And that is as long as you can connect this information and we have enough to kind of like have a good sense of your financial situation, that our tools become more efficient. So the information we give you to become more efficient yourself and make more money becomes more useful, but also the information we get to give our financial partners becomes more sturdy, and therefore, it unlocks better and better financial products.
Amazing. Well, I think it's pretty clear to see, what you guys are able to offer, and why it should matter to the kind of the gig economy, the gig workers, freelancers. And I think that the last thing that'd be good to know is, what do you want the world to know about you, about Bankuish, about Filance AI, and what you're doing?
I guess two things. One is that Filance AI is going to be growing a lot in the United States, and if anyone listening to this wants to try us out, or better yet, wants to join our mission into bringing dignity to the financial lives of gig workers of the future of work, get in touch with us, download our app or get in touch with us because we are hiring and we are growing our user base.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for your time, Jose. Been great to speak with you. And yeah, looking forward to everyone out there hearing this.
Always a pleasure, Ash. Thank you so much.